let's get into it. I have diarrhea.
I literally threw up so much yesterday. It was crazy.
Oh.
Bravo breakdown.
I don't know. I thought I was done vomiting from the GLP-1 because like I haven't taken it since that one day, and it's been over a week, and so I was like, what's going on?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the other thing. I always knew this was disaster because you're one of the most nauseous people I've ever met.
That's not true.
It is true. And honestly, like, takes one to know one. You're the one who got me on that Dramamine addiction.
I got you on that
You and your
Dramamine
mom.
trip. I know, not sponsored.
And that's like helped me with my nausea has
It goes away
come a long
so
way.
magical. We come here for magic.
We come to this place for magic. So we are a little behind in the valley. We'll see how many of you guys
Care.
watch these.
I
care.
know. Yeah.
But we're
no
gonna
one here
recap.
is faking ethnicities. Just,
Yeah.
just
good old fashioned hell marriages. In
good old fashioned
Sun Valley.
domestic problems in Sun Valley, Idaho.
We'll be recapping episodes 5 and 6, and then we'll catch up on 7 and 8 next week. And then the people have spoken. The people are saying Miami.
They're saying no kids.
They're saying no kids. They're saying we want the Roberto Cavalli dresses. We want
the Carnival
Adriana,
cruise. Yeah.
The Adriana and Julia breakup.
The breakup heard round the world in certain subreddits.
And we want let's see what happened with Alexia and Todd.
Hold on, shit. Ruby's school's calling. I can't believe this.
Snip, snip.
Snip, snip here. Snip, snip there.
Snip there, and a couple of
tra-la-las. That's how the land of the
Land
valley.
of the valley. Okay, wow. Guys, we rehearsed that.
Which one's the scarecrow, Lauren, with that head?
I'm feeling very scarecrow lately. Brainless. A empty vessel. Friend of Dorothy. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so we're recapping the Valley episodes 5 and 6. So we have Zach and Brittany. We're in the Santa Barbara B&B that Jesse rented, and Brittany and Zach are eating, or they're like laying in bed with like the CVS onion dip that Zach was eating all night. That really takes me back to binging at 19, baby.
It's a lot. Yeah, he lives like in a studio. Like there's weird things happening in his life.
Weird things happening, but it looks like Zach and Brittany are like coming to a better place in their friendship, which is this season kind of rocky. They're, laughing and bonding. And Jesse he says, even though he almost left the trip last night because he was so pissed at Michele, he is being mature and rising above it for the group. And he decided not to leave his job and stay there and go to the next day on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Hero. And then
Michael
Michele
is
and I.
me.
They talk about he's not really rising above it because he has been chugging champagne all morning before they go on the wine tasting trip.
I don't remember that.
And
oh my god, I'm trying to. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta.
I'm trying to remember.
Back
to the beginning.
And Michele talks about how like Jesse was trying to upset her last night, and he didn't upset her, so then that's why he got really pissed. It's their sick Liz and Dick games. So then Brittany and Zach laugh about how they're going to the wine tasting, but they both hate wine.
Right. That is funny.
And that is, that
relatable.
Is humor. That's humor. Yeah.
And to me, that's humor.
That's humor. Jax also, we learned, texted Brittany that he is bipolar. And Brittany's like,
we know.
I think this is good. I think this is a good step. And Zach is like, it's not good.
I know we're supposed to be recapping, but I need to do an intervention on the rehab facility that is treating Jax.
Okay.
This is
Nothing's
a problem.
This is not.
This is. Has anybody here been in treatment or seen the show in treatment?
Yeah, because I have a friend who checked into rehab yesterday.
Oh, no,
and,
again?
Did not even text me when he got there, and now I'm like frantically calling, emailing, trying to see if he got in. Because guess what? They don't get their phones, and they don't get to leave and come back and get stuff from their house or go to the park.
And they don't get to wear hats that are advertising for a bar.
They don't get to record videos that look like
hostage situations. This is the first thing they do when you go to a facility. Like, okay, I'm not full disclosure, I have not been in a rehab facility. I've been in a mental health institution. I don't know if that sounds right, but when I was there were people, there were addicts also being treated in the same place. They take away your phone. They take away your phone. They take away underwire bras, shoelaces. You definitely don't. You can. There's a phone you can use that is shared, but you have designated times that you can even be on the phone, and you do not have access to texting.
It's not a cell phone.
No, and I mean, I feel like the amount of that Jax is texting is more than like you and I text when we first even take Adderall for it. Like, this is like the most insane, and none of it is helpful information. Like,
this is kind of my theory, and we'll get into this more. Well, I'll get into more of my theory in the episode, but right now that I just said this, I'm developing a new aspect of the theory. I think he's an outpatient. I don't think he's in.
You don't think?
I think he's an outpatient, and he's staying with
Alex Baskin.
Someone on the Alex Baskin or someone on the Bravo.
You don't get to.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just you don't get to do that in a facility.
No.
Yeah, and like I get it, he's on a show and stuff, but if anybody here is keeping score with Keeping Up with Kardashians, this did happen as well when Scott Disick had to go away to rehab. And guess what? He was not texting, he was not calling, like he was not around for filming anything because he was gone for 30 days. And they talked about like daddy is in a place that's helping him get better, which is healthy. And I think he's actually maybe still sober at this point, which is a good thing.
Good for him.
But
even Rachel, yeah, Raquel,
she was gone.
People like talked about, her, she's at a fake, treatment place.
Right.
She's at a spa, but it's like she was not answering texts. It kind of makes me think,
if you really want to get better, you're not doing things like this, and he's not.
But it's more about the show. It's more about the show was not really taking care of him. I kind of think. Well, we'll get into it more, but I think the show wanted him to keep texting so he can continue to be a presence. You know how in The Sopranos Summer, after Nancy Marchand, who played Livia, Tony's mom, after she died, David Chase had to get creative, right? Because she's like the best character.
Oh my God.
Ever. He had to find
Isn't
ways.
she so sweet?
I love her.
She's so mean and racist.
Yeah. Another fucking toothpick.
Oh my God.
So he had to find ways to.
Because she was such a big presence on that show.
Yes. So he had to Tony met and fell in love with a girl who was a lot like her.
Right. Let's make sure his psychiatrist is always talking about things that Carmela does. Like, can we link the wife to my? I don't want to fuck my mom if that's what you're talking about.
Yes. So it's we found ways to kind of bring her in even though she's gone. And I think that's why they're like, okay, well, if he's an outpatient, we can still have him texting. He can still kind of be a part of the show without actually being there, is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then I'll get more into why I believe this later. So we go to the wine tasting in the Sprinter bus. And why is it, this has happened on so many shows this past month where it's they're on the Sprinter bus and someone gets drunk and pretends the pole is a stripper pole. Happened on Mormons, it's in the zeitgeist.
I can't handle, I don't want to, you know what? I'm tired of the Sprinter bus. Bring back the limos.
Yeah.
Bring back the limos.
We've been
the girls
watching
were
Beverly
sat.
Hills season 2.
We were sat. Everybody sat. And we could do great things in the limo. We could, Ramona
Taylor
Singer.
lighting the cigarette backwards, making the driver pull over on the highway to give her a match.
Yeah, where she's screaming at Kyle saying, I need a lighter. Kyle's like, I don't smoke.
They're on the highway. They're pull over. I got
a lighter.
Driving back from Malibu.
Bring back. Okay, and then also remember the limo that everyone on Roni had to sit in while they waited for Sonia. She wouldn't allow them in the house, and the limo driver had to keep driving around the block because there was nowhere to park. This is entertainment.
Yes, but it's the Bravo budget right now because of all the lawsuits. That's why we're going to Milwaukee and Salt Lake City as their girls trip. I mean, the Valley I think is intentionally kind of driving trips to Airbnbs. That's kind of the vibe, suburban. Mm-hmm. But we're not getting the glamour we once did on the other franchises because of one Leah McSweeney.
And we know what happened
Franco,
with that.
block us, Bethany.
On page 6, not sponsored. We'd love to have a page. If news outlets could start sponsoring entertainment podcasts.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing in page 6 though about a week ago on Leah? Andy hired a team of housewives to destroy her.
Really?
Yeah. He got an army. The article was army of housewives.
Destroy her how?
Just
Emotionally?
like, no, just like, well, defend Andy, number one, defend the network, and then also discredit her completely.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that feels like a kind of like a
No, that sounds like
old
Andy
news
to me.
compared to him hiring Harvey Weinstein's PR team.
That is an interesting move. What's going on?
But I mean, Justin Baldoni, I think, hired them too. I think they're just the best PR team. You know?
Okay,
but it
and
does
then
definitely
Blake-
doesn't look good.
Blake
That's like the
Lively
worst PR
dropping
you can
part
have.
of the lawsuit.
Ugh.
She dropped the part about emotional distress.
Distress because you've got to prove it with your medical records, and she didn't want to open her
Right,
medical
and
records to
Taylor
the
Swift
public.
isn't answering her calls right now. She's ghosting her.
What a circus! I want to sue them for emotional distress because it's
I
like,
feel
oh, you're
emotionally
making
distressed.
me relive like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, but instead, like which was such the ugliness of humankind. Except you're doing it in a boring,
This is a weird thing because, like, I almost feel bad for Blake Lively. I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for myself.
Why can't everything be the Gwyneth Paltrow's trial, the ski trial?
I know.
That was
Yes.
that was
Everything
cinema.
should be light enough to make a musical,
Right.
a short-lived off-Broadway musical about it, like the Gwyneth Paltrow ski trial. So, the engine of the bus begins smoking, and
My
then
God.
Luke, like a superhero, jumps out, like opens, and he's like, pushes the driver out of the way, and he's like,
I got
"Yep,
that. I'm
good
blue
car,
collar.
Ryder." Yeah.
I live in a place where there's no electricity or running water. I know exactly what to do in this situation.
Yes, like I'm a real man, not like that pussy Jesse.
And everyone in the bus is like, "There's no air conditioning." Okay, that was one person. It was Brittany, but then
Brittany.
it was getting hot on that bus.
But he does come in with a plan. He's like, okay, we need to like
Do this
drive this to a gas
down.
station.
We can go
and then
downhill and get help.
Airbnb from there.
Why
Or-
didn't
and,
they have like
Uber from
production in another? I don't get it. It's weird.
there. I don't know. I think they're trying to show. I think they're always happy when Luke talks.
When
Like,
Luke talks.
it's been such a Luke and Kristen light season. So
Yeah,
far.
and it's
my
like-
big complaint with the Valley overall.
Luke is such a man of the people. He's like giving Bernie Sanders.
totally not very effective in terms of.
No one's voting
know,
for this
within-
man, but
yes, and-
he's got great
well,
ideas.
Right. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Well, man of the people. We all love him. I do think he would win a most popular male cast member vote.
Right.
But in terms of like working with the other cast members to get his agenda pushed,
Mhm.
he and Kristen, AOC, they're on an
They're not
island.
happening. Well, because
Nobody
they don't
listening to
understand.
them.
Listen, they don't understand the working class like he does.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. They don't care. They're the elite.
They're the
Janet.
bourgeoisie.
Nancy Pelosi.
And then
Janet
Mark's
is Nancy
friend,
Pelosi.
Mark's fans in the room. They're the bourgeoisie.
The bourgeoisie. But Janet is Nancy Pelosi.
Oh my god, she's so Nancy Pelosi.
She whips that
Who's Chuck
cast with
Schumer?
a strong fist. Jax.
Whoa, that's twisted.
Dark. No, I know Chuck. Oh no, probably Jason.
No, he's definitely a Republican. Those two are Republicans.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz.
He's like a Marjorie Taylor.
Jax
for me.
is Ted Cruz.
Jax is Ted Cruz, and Brittany's March.
Too many names.
Also, I kind of like Jesse's physical Buster Keaton-esque physical comedy there. He's picking up the mantle for Jax, where he's like pretending to hitchhike, and he's like,
Yeah,
he's so drunk.
Yeah, they're like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "There's no air conditioning on this bus, and I don't trust this man who's white to fix the van."
And Michele, actually, I really liked her shade here, where she was like, I kind of hope he does get picked up by a hitchhiker and murdered in the woods, and no one finds his body. I was like, Jesus.
Yes, this is. At least they kept the cameras up in this Sprinter van, and that's all I can say.
That's all that matters.
And that's all
yeah.
that matters.
Yes, Ireland trip on Orange County
Oh.
tour.
My God! At least there was light.
Yes.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
So true. Then they go to the vineyard. Zach is doing a lot of like wine tasting comedy too, which I actually like because I relate to. Where
The
he's like, I
spitting.
hate wine.
I
He's like-
swallow.
Yeah, he's just like holding his nose and chugging the wine, the wine tasting. And Danny is unfortunately, he's giving into his Nickelodeon instincts and he's trying to do some bits.
Well, he shows up late.
He shows
That's
up
a
late.
big part of the story.
Yeah, he shows up late because he was working at Warner Brothers.
And that's very, you know how long it is to drive literally anywhere in LA, and the like it's so like Santa Barbara might as well be in like New York City
It's so far.
from especially
Yeah.
from like, you know, the WB studios
Yeah.
with the
a nightmare.
Animaniacs there slowing shit
the
down
Animaniacs running that
They're
place
running
from the
amok.
water
from the water tower.
lots. Oh, I'm not talking good.
One
today.
is a genius, the other's
The other's
insane.
insane. That's Vicky in the Brain.
I know, but that's part of Animaniac.
Actually, okay, well, sidebar, we'll cut this, but I just have to tell you, I'm reading a book on the Oscars, and the Warner brothers actually were four brothers. And one was like a kind of like he should have been on Bravo. He one time said to a girl, like at a party in the 90s,
Whoa.
are you on your period? Otherwise, come to my room later.
At least, are you sure it was like, are you on your moon?
Yeah, but it was very advanced for the times.
Trailblazer.
That he would only eat pussy.
Trailblazer. Yeah, but not like
Anyway.
Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, but one of them died tragically. But they were the first ones to get on sound with the jazz singer, and their studio was about to go under until they did that, and then it saved them right as the brother died. So then that kind of bonded them in tragedy. And that's what the Animaniacs is based on. But they didn't have a sister. Yeah, Danny is gargling wine. He's doing some Dan Schneider-esque
Oh my
comedy.
God, that's so dark.
So, well, I mean, he's not pulling out like his foot and slapping it against.
He's not the other guy. Oh my!
Danny Schneidering his wine, doing like a gargle, spit take, spit it out, spit it back in my mouth, pour gack.
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't do like yeah. I was like, what are you, Michael Winslow over here? What are we doing?
And yeah, everyone's like not having it.
No.
And they'll get deeper into it.
We'll get into it.
But for now, as is typical Valley editing, we cut to Isabella on the phone with Michele, and Jesse's like, I want to talk to her.
Oh my God.
And then
Crazy.
Michele hangs up.
They're still with a wine tasting, by the way.
Yeah, they just like have gone to a tree like 5 feet away.
But everyone they're still within like,
yes.
Everyone is still watching this happen and listening to this happen. And I guess it is less dark to witness that than watching Danny gargle wine.
Do his wine shenanigans.
His wine
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Zach is mad because he's like, I like my wine bit more.
Yeah. I did a better wine bit. And
mine's more of a Farrelly Brothers wine bit,
Shallow Hal coated.
Shallow Hal coated. Something about Mary. I'm putting the wine in my hand
Something
and then
about
specking it up, pretending it's cum,
Yeah.
And like Danny's is very like lowest common denominator. Anyway, so then we get into the greatest romance of our time,
the greatest romance never told,
Jesse and Michele. So they hang up with Isabella, and
no, Michele hangs up with Isabella once her dad wants to say hi to his child. These two go to be so cruel. Yeah. I just can't imagine
doing that to a co.
Yeah, well, just being like, even if you're like, I don't want to, but especially if all of our friends were watching, it'd be like, fine, you can say hi to your daughter. It's still it's not like his daughter's 18, she's like 3. It's so crazy, these two. Yeah. Their little games.
I love it. So Jesse's like, I just want to explain why I said you were an escort. And then he doesn't explain. He goes, are you happy?
And then he's like, and then this confessional, he's like, look, it was a moment of weakness. Yes. Calling his wife like a sex worker was a moment of weakness for the man.
He's like, and I didn't believe it, but he doesn't say any of this story. He's like, I want to explain. I don't think you're happy.
But then, Michele's got a rebuttal.
Yep, she's like, I am happy besides you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesse's like, can you not be happy with my relationship? And Michelle's like, I'm not happy with who you're with. Sorry. And then we flash back to Lacey Nicole, Jesse's fake girlfriend, threatening all her future coworkers with cease and desists before she's supposed to appear on the show. And then she's not on the show.
She's not on the show. She's just like ghost haunting the show. But it's also this one. So then also like her, I'm not an escort rebuttal too, is her holding up Venmo to Jesse, and she's like, if I'm an escort, then you're like a gay prostitute. Why did this friend who is gay give you money on Venmo?
Yeah, Michele says, look at you, you're a disaster. And Jesse says, and you're a hooker, so that's fine.
And you're a gay hooker.
Mamet could never, okay?
Oh my God. Not with his stupid daughter Zasha hanging around.
She's what's holding him back, not his politics. Anyway, Michelle's like, you can't do that. I'm the mother of your child. You're a loser. You spent all our money. And she goes, and speaking of which, let me pull up this Venmo
on
my phone.
This is Aaron Sorkin writing, like, Facebook movie. This is the Social Network when everyone's like, look how bad Mark Zuckerberg is. He's a sociopath. And now we're sitting here and he's having to confront all of these people suing him for being an absolute sociopath, including his best friend who fucked him over. And
even Rashida Jones, his lawyer, doesn't feel sorry for him.
No. And he doesn't feel a thing.
Kristen is his Rashida Jones, is Jesse's lawyer now.
Yeah.
That's what she's been relegated to on the Valley. His unofficial lawyer because he's representing himself.
Right. Oh my God. Oh my God, insane.
Okay, and so then we don't get to see the Venmo, unfortunately. I have been searching on Venmo for Jesse's.
Did you see him on Watch What Happens Live talking about this? First of all, Andy hates Danny. It was Danny and Jesse on weeks ago. He hates both of them, and it was so clear. But Andy asked him, he was like, what was the Venmo for? Like, why do your friends send you Venmos? And he's like, you can send me a Venmo too, to Andy. And Andy's like, huh? But he wouldn't explain how much he got from his friend, why his friend was sending him money. Like, it was kind of...
Andy only likes queer baiting if you're hot.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And I guess Andy
Jesse
also...
only appeals to, like, Michele on Dramamine is his audience.
That's my type.
Okay, so then, Michele... so then Luke comes over first. Luke comes over to Jesse while Michelle's, like, popping off to her friends. And Luke goes, dude, what happened? And Jesse goes, I think it's going well. And Luke goes, you think it's going well?
He's like, this is good for us. This is us communicating.
Luke is like, oh my gosh, give me a car engine because I do not understand.
I know, I don't understand.
Dynamics.
What, do these two have electricity or something? I don't get it.
And then Michele says, our friend and client sent us money for Isabella's birthday and you took it. Want to see the proof? He's broke. And why is a gay guy sending you money? And Janet goes, he doesn't get access to Michele anymore. And Brittany's like, you need to apologize for calling her a hooker.
Right.
And then,
meanwhile, there's still people serving them, like their waiters
the
are still
couple
what are those the people that come
sommelier?
The sommeliers are trying to explain to them about the wine, and it's just like, is Jesse a gay hooker?
Also,
I think it's going well.
He doesn't even deny
He doesn't deny a thing.
He doesn't deny that he took the money for Isabella's birthday.
Right.
That's like, yeah. What I kind of like about Jesse, though, it's not that he has no shame. It's like, I think that he's kind of like Jax, where he gets off on like being like, tell me that I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Tell me I took the
He's like Mark Zuckerberg right there.
Wine.
Yeah, I took Eduardo's money. I took Eduardo's money.
He's a sicko.
He's a sicko.
No kink shaming, but
he's a sicko for Venmo.
And so then they go back to the Airbnb and the chefs are cooking dinner. The chef really looks like he was in he's like a roadie for like a 2005 emo band. He has like the soul. I'm like, why is every man,
he has a soul patch.
All of Jesse's like service workers are like
soul
6'5" men with a soul patch.
Yeah,
I
don't understand the show. They never get to go to restaurants or anything. It's weird.
It's weird, but I think it's like that it's like it's.
But they're on a trip. It's like, why are they always like having to play cabin fever here? And do you notice they always have to stay in a house in these trips? Like other Bravo shows, they all get like that hotel, and some of them might share a room, but they're all like cabin fevered on this show.
I think they're really trying to get they had like 2 of the greatest 4-second brawls in Bravo history on their first season, and they're like trying to get them into that space where like Mike Paxer and flying,
right? Yeah,
and they can't do that at a restaurant.
They did though.
Excuse me.
Before
they did that one time. No, that was at a rented house.
No,
the other time was the restaurant.
That was the hotel. It was actually the hotel. They were there celebrating Jax's spray on her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then Danny and Janet walk into the walk-in
Damn
pantry.
Damn it, Janet. Throw popcorn at the screen.
Yeah, Danny, so he walks in and he's like, I'm gonna catch up. We hear on, like, his mic.
He's still mic'd, yeah.
He's still mic'd. He said, you guys got a head start. I'm gonna catch up with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear from
Which
Janet's
is a stupid thing to say. I mean, this whole thing is dumb.
This whole thing is so... But Janet's like, he closed the pantry door while I was in the pantry.
And he's chugging the
tequila. And then he was hunching.
And I was there just to get a snack. I wanted Easy Mac, and I had to watch this alcoholic.
But here's the thing that, like, kind of, I feel like...
Danny probably has some sort of drinking problem, but...
He's trying to escape. I mean, this is an epidemic in dads with kids under 2. I mean, I can't even tell you how many I've learned about in the past 3 days. How many alcoholic dads with toddlers who can't handle it.
Well, I also just think it's like probably a lot of people with that many kids under the age of 3. It's a lot to deal with.
And working full time and like also
They were
being
in
on TV,
small
like,
quarters in that
Yeah.
condo.
Yeah. And I think part of it might have to do with like pandemic, that like a lot of them developed a drinking problem then, or like
Right.
some of them are work from home. So it's like, oh, they could kind of like cover for a while and it took the edge off, you know. But this is a real epidemic, guys. We need to help out our dads.
Help
with
out
two
our
and- with
dads
3 and
who call themselves daddy when they're drunk.
yes.
Daddy needs a
We'll post a GoFundMe below.
A
Okay,
Venmo.
so then a Venmo. So then Michele and Jesse are back at it, and Michelle is like, "Why are you so obsessed with this girl?" Which is something I want to know too. I do think he just wants a girlfriend on the show so bad, so he has someone who has his back. Is kind of the vibe, because he is like at the bottom of the food chain right now. I feel like in terms of the valley. And then Michelle also says something that I think is correct too, where she says, "I don't think Jesse is happy I moved on quickly. I think he positioned himself with this girlfriend where it's like, and we're really happy too. So he doesn't seem like such a loser on the show."
Right.
But actually, him as a loser is the only way he's likable.
Exactly.
So it kind of worked out for him.
Yeah, and I'm happy for him.
I mean, he still sucks, but like he's
Don't
less
say
of a
that,
disgusting.
Lauren. Hold on.
He's less of a disgusting monster when he has no power,
He's less of a disgusting monster when he's a gay hooker.
when he's a gay hooker. Like he's such a loser right now, you know. And then Jesse's like, "Why do you care so much?" Like the implication being, is it because you're still in love with me?
You're still in love with me. You still have feelings for me.
Michelle's like,
I hate you. But they only talk about each other.
they only talk
I cannot
about each
tell you
other.
Michelle's boyfriend's name, except the only thing I know is his crazy eyes.
He looks like the fifth Culkin, who was made with like the leftover Culkin.
But why are his eyes like
for
me?
Yeah. So then also Michelle tells us something disturbing, which is Isabella is telling Michelle that this girlfriend of Jesse's is saying, "I'm your second mommy."
Yeah, get this woman on the show right now.
Yes, because that is deranged behavior. Yeah.
So like she's tried so hard to be on TV at this point.
She wants it so bad. She just has to stop being litigious. Bravo won't play that anymore. Yeah. So then Michelle says, "Look at you. You're a child. You're a child. I came here to check on you, but I'll tell everyone. My husband refused to hug me and kiss me and tell me I'm pretty. My husband spent all of our money."
He spent all of our money, and there's people sitting outside on a bench enjoying it is like a beautiful view. Like it's a beautiful house. It's a beautiful day. It really is like overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Like they're on a cliff. Like it's gorgeous. And they're just like hanging out, I think it was like Zach and is it Jasmine? I can't remember. Everyone was like hanging out outside, and you just hear Michelle on the balcony of Jesse's in his room being like, "My husband spent all of our money and he never told me I was pretty." And everyone's like, "Oh my God."
Oh my God. And then Jesse just like ice cold is like, "Did you or did you not cheat on me?" And Michelle throws a drink in his face.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Do you want me to tell this whole house how much I hate you?" And he's like, "Yes."
Yes.
And
he's like, "Actually, that's the only way I can get hard."
Yeah. And then he just stands on the stairs watching her destroy him.
Yes.
And everybody listening, and he does nothing.
Yes. Oh, because he is fully
He's fully erect. He's standing still, if you know what I mean.
If you know what I mean.
His penis is hard.
It may be 6
And Michelle's
o'clock, but now it's midnight.
She's probably
She's
around.
probably-
This
yeah,
isn't the first time this has happened.
Yeah, this is honestly the taming of the shrew.
Yeah.
Liz and Dick.
Yeah.
I mean, no, Shakespeare could never.
Shakespeare wishes.
Right. A line as good as, "Hey, everybody, my husband refused to hug me or kiss me.
He didn't hug me, and he spent all of our money, and he's broke."
So good.
Mm-hmm. You cheated on me, I know it. And that's all he says.
So then for some reason, instead of exploring having the rich textual analysis that we should get after a scene
everyone
like
should be
this.
discussing this.
Yes,
Jesse's broke. He didn't give Michelle any emotional or physical support. He doesn't seem to care. He's a gay escort. What did you do with Isabella's money? Michelle, why are you still going to check on this man if he's done so many awful, heinous things? Are you getting therapy for that? You need to remove yourself from this situation.
Why
of
is
this
Lacey
happens.
saying she's the second mommy?
Because Janet has to rear her damn it Janet head and ruin what could have been a very rich storyline.
Yeah.
In fact, it is a rich storyline in many subreddits.
Yes. It's the best, but also I think what's happening here is very interesting. And this is where I'll get into my Jax theory. Danny is not at dinner. He's like, Naya's like, sorry, he just passed out. He's tired from working and driving.
Yeah, we all just go to dinner like nothing's happened.
Yes, we just don't,
This wasn't even airing of dirty laundry. This was like a complete, like from top to bottom, like dismantling your marriage and a person.
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Instead, we get into the nitty gritty of that millisecond scene we don't even have footage of beyond the mic, where and Danny, and also we get into something that happened in October, Halloween of last year. It's now August when we're filming, and we talk again about how Jasmine, got called daddy, and then
Danny called himself daddy, and he did grope her, which is very fucked up.
He did grope her. Yeah, he grabbed her fiance's, but thinking it was Michelle's butt.
Yeah, and
what better?
Jasmine does say about this, it is legitimate. Yeah, and she's saying that a lot of people she feels like don't value or respect lesbian relationships like they would, and I can fully believe and see that.
Oh, I watched with my sister and her wife, and they're like, we totally like that is like cool that she's talking about it, but clearly she's so pissed that this didn't happen on camera, because she's like, this is my storyline.
Yes, and it's a big one, and he should be like dragged for that shit.
Yes,
he fucked up.
But the problem is, like, they shouldn't have done the sit down with just him and then like not really gotten into it, because it's like, we already have the footage. We've kind of wrapped up that storyline, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry, sweetie.
So narratively, like, this is getting repetitive, But Janet, she really doesn't care about repetition. She cares about control. So she is really driving it ahead, as is Brittany, even at this dinner, receiving and texts from Jax and reporting them to the group.
Yeah.
And she's getting really resentful that Nia isn't being honest, that like Danny's drunk.
Because she's getting attacked at dinner. And she is right to say, like, she doesn't even get to go on a vacation and have dinner with her friends. Like, obviously this is her job and it's a cast trip and all things, but she doesn't even get to be free of Jax on the show that they're filming when he's not even there. He's not even physically there, and he is harassing her. He is harassing her, this woman.
Yes. And so it's like, I'm not totally sure if it's contractual, like, kind of the producers are like, you need to report.
I feel like they should have
kind of
stepped in at this point. I know. Otherwise, I feel like they would have stepped in and been like, you can't, or we're going to cut every scene where you do this or something, Jax. Like, you can't just keep doing this.
Yes, because it's like, it's making him look so bad, but yeah, exactly. So yeah, like, I kind of think the producers are like, maybe not like forcing her, but kind of like encouraging her, being like, look, it would be great if, we did put him at this rehab where he could still have his phone and move to and fro from a reason so that he could still participate in the show. It is his livelihood. And, if you could, give us the highlights.
This is just a lot.
Because otherwise I don't understand why the three, Jasmine, Janet, and Brittany, are so resentful. The second Nia leaves the table, they start talking shit about how she's not being honest about Danny, how Brittany has to be honest about all of this, and Nia is lying, and saying that he's just asleep,
and they're like, no, he's an alcoholic, and why can't you just admit it? And this is like so crazy.
The rage. The rage is obviously, no matter what, completely misplaced.
Well, it's misplaced. Like, obviously Brittany is mad at her own husband with addiction issues. But she is right in that she has always been very honest. You've had to see it.
That's not true, though.
Oh, no, she has. You're right. She's hidden a lot of stuff.
True, Ellen. She's just now being honest.
Okay, you're right. And I think maybe she's just mad at Jax because he's continually texting her at dinner. Janet has nothing to say. Like, she has no, oh my God, he went to the pantry and he chugged tequila. Did he grope you like he did Jasmine? No. Did he say something fucked up or inappropriate? No. He was just like, I need to catch up. And guess what? He drank too much and he passed out like every person has done on the planet Earth. Yeah. It's not a storyline. It shouldn't be something we're discussing. It's not a storyline.
But here's the thing about Janet. I really figured her out now. She's a lot like Kyle, except for Kyle like really wants to be liked by the audience still.
Yeah.
I don't think Janet really cares about being liked. She wants to have control of the storyline.
Yep.
And she wants to have power within the group. I mean, it's kind of really impressive how much social currency, how well insulated she is, how she's still like everyone's number one. No one really comes at her, like other than like Kristen, no one's targeting her. People do whatever she says, and she's the closest friend to Brittany, closest to Michelle, closest to like so many of them, even though the audience hates her. I've never seen something like this where it's like, oh, she really doesn't care that all the fans hate her. All she cares about is she is like the most powerful person in this group.
Right, but she can't even bring us interesting storylines.
She's not interested in that. She's interested in the power and the control.
Mm-hmm.
That's like very pathological. I'm sorry, like as unlikable as she is, that's someone I want to see more of. And also when she gets taken down, it's going to be so like finger looking good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Kristen, of course, the most normal person on the Valley somehow, and therefore getting very little screen time, is pissed that Jasmine and Brittany waited until Nia and Danny were not at the table anymore to just start dragging them. And they're like, these girls are really mad at them. They're calling them fucking assholes and talking shit. And then Zach, he kind of intercepts Nia because he's kind of playing double agent at this point. He's like, well, Brittany's always ratting on me to people, so I think I'm going to rat on her to Nia. And it's like, Nia, people are talking about your relationship. And then they kind of hear it going on in like a back bedroom, and they start, he's like, come on, let's go to bed. And Nia's like, no, I want to hear. And they creep to the back bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
They put their ears to the door, and they are just bashing Nia, talking shit about her.
Her life,
and then
she's acting like she's so perfect. Yeah.
They don't stop. They don't even acknowledge that she's walked in. They just keep going. Janet walks in and like joins in without like really acknowledging she's there. It's
I
so
know,
crazy.
it's so crazy. I think that probably is something legit. I mean, this whole situation's stupid, but there is something legitimate about like Nia and Danny are kind of fake. You know, they don't lay it all out there. And then there's like camera, you know, there's stuff that happened that didn't make the scenes necessarily, where Nia's voice like tone changes with Danny in some ways. Like she gets really upset with him. She doesn't talk about everything that's happening, and maybe they should be more.
But I think that it's like kind of with Brittany, I kind of get where her anger is coming from. It's projected as always. Like this bitch needs therapy so bad. But like where it's like the big betrayal by Jax was that he tried to make her look like the problem in their relationship in front of America, so then he could leave her. You know, that's like the biggest betrayal. Whereas Nia and Danny, they have each other's backs. They're not going to make each other look like shit on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I would want in a relationship. Do I want it in my reality TV? Not necessarily, but it's like that's healthy, I think, to protect your partner on camera, to protect your kids from your partner looking like shit on camera, like to kind of, and then also I kind of like that when we see that glimpses of their relationship where it's like, oh, it's so clear Nia's the one in charge, and she kind of like doms Danny. I kind of like, that's kind of the relationship with like all of the couples on the Valley. It's like the woman's in charge, and she like, you know, dominates the shit out of the men. And I honestly think that Jax and Brittany, they could have made it if Jax could have just accepted that that's what he wants and likes. He likes to be dominated by Brittany.
He wants to be dominated. Yeah. Like he needs a Carmela Soprano.
Yes, but he can't, you know, he just struggles with it too much, and like, you know, gets too caught up in the drugs and his ego and the fame and deserving more, and he hates himself too much. But
done
it's like,
really awful things.
If he could have just accepted it, I feel like they could have, you know, been functional. But anyway, I kind of see where Brittany's coming from. The way she's acting is, you know, not defensible, but I understand it. I kind of understand from Jasmine, because she's like, I need a storyline or they are going to kick me off and bring Sheena on.
My God.
Janet I understand because she's a stone cold psychopath. So then that pretty much wraps up the end of the episode, and we start the next episode in the same room where, you know, they're like, just admit it. And he was like, you want me to admit my husband's drunk? He is drunk. Like, I'm sorry I didn't say that he was drunk and went to sleep. He was also tired.
And everybody already knew that he was drunk.
So then Danny walks in. God, what a nightmare. Like, waking up, like,
he just
drunk.
Woke up to screaming people.
He's like,
and his wife is crying.
and being like, yes, he's drunk. And he's like, what? I'm not drunk. I
He's
just
like,
woke
what
up.
happened?
Did I miss dinner?
And Janet was like, I saw you in the pantry, you alcoholic.
And he's like, oh, I think I need an energy drink.
And then Nia's
I
like,
just felt
everyone
him.
thinks that you're drunk, and they're mad at me, and they're destroying our marriage.
And yeah,
And he's
like,
just like,
"What?"
imagine waking up like hungover at like
yes.
PM and being like, what?
He's literally like, what on earth is going on? And she's like, two things can be true. You were drunk and you were tired, and both were happening at the same time. And he's like, what the fuck? Or he would if he cursed. They're too Christian for that. And then here we do get to an interesting part where he's like, wait, drunk? I wasn't drunk. I drink the same as everyone else. And it's like, maybe they have a point. Because he does drink a little more than everyone else. So then back at dinner, it's just Kristen, Luke, and
she's
Jesse,
in the chef.
and the chef. And Luke says he ate 10 ice creams because everybody left before dinner.
Yeah, and then Jesse's like, it was delicious. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this went well. I think it's going well.
I think it's going well. And so then is really hurt because she's like, I just would never wait till Brittany walked off camera to talk bad about her. So then the next morning, Luke brings hungover Kristen coffee and watermelon. She's gonna have diarrhea. And then everybody packs up and leave. And then back in LA, we meet a certain friend of Michelle for the first time, named none other than Sheena Shea. Ne Jankan.
Oh my god, the jump scare when you see Sheena introduced as like, you see it on the screen. Friend of Michelle.
Crazy. It's a whole new world we're living in.
How did we get there? Yeah, Sheena's hiking with a friend.
Yeah, she does look healthier, I think.
Oh, I love
after
Sheena.
Her anxiety crisis last season of VPR. Or OCD. And Michelle says, Sheena's a really good person. And I said, so true, bestie. She's a really good person. And Michelle is just like talking about Jesse calls me names no man should say to a woman. And she's saying, I mean, this is kind of, I think, a bullshit storyline. Aaron is saying he doesn't want to be with me if Jesse's going to be in the picture. Which I think maybe like he doesn't want to be with her if she's like, it's all happening on reality TV. That is like a little much, but he's not like, you know. That's just not true, I think. That's just actually not true, Ellen. Also, I think Aaron wants to be on TV. Look at his eyes.
Yeah, and why does he sell honey at Runyon?
Exactly. And he's an actor, you know. Let's be real.
The man wants the screen time.
He's definitely probably, they have a healthier thing going than Jesse and Lacey Nicole, but it's not so different.
Right.
Then Jesse's marriage coach with the soul patch is back. And now it's so funny that he kept the marriage coach, but now he just works on his marriage to himself.
They're just friends.
Who
talk about the marriage that he is getting out of.
Yeah. And basically it's like Jesse just needs people to film with to remind the audience that Michelle did cheat on him.
Yeah.
So he's
and he won't stop talking about it.
He will not stop talking about it. He's like, actually, marriage coach Michelle, she admitted to kissing someone else while we were married. And the marriage coach is like, okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Can you stop being such a self-important dick? And I was like,
and he's like, I think this is going well.
I think this is going well. Yeah, in one ear.
You're hearing me.
You're hearing me.
You're really listening. Thank you.
Luke and Kristen bought an extremely valley-looking house. It has a pool.
Oh, they're renting it. He says that they're renting it because they don't know where they end up.
Oh, gotcha. So then Jasmine comes over and she says she feels bad about fighting with Nia. And Luke and Kristen are very like, this is like such a stupid fight.
Yeah, Kristen is the only pro here who's like, we really need to stop talking about this.
Yes. And she's like, if it's going to happen, do it face to face. The behind the back is not compelling.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I've literally been slapped in the face on TV. So this is boring. This is child's play.
This sucks. Yeah. And then I think clearly what Jasmine is really upset about is that the Danny thing happened off camera and Nia isn't helping making it more of a storyline. She didn't help set that up for her, which I do think maybe she's got a point there, but it's just a little too inside baseball.
Yeah.
For you to, it's like, you got to let it go at this point, you know. Luke goes ring chopping with Danny and Kyle Chan, extremely cursed to see.
Oh God, this guy's everywhere. You don't want to be.
Yes, he's the opposite of Discover card. And then Jesse is ordering Isabella chicken, broccoli, and French fries
From
from
the
Chateau
Chateau.
Marmont.
Yeah.
Ordering takeout from
Chateau
Chateau Marmont.
Marmont is so fucked up. Yeah, he's like, do you want the chicken tenders from Chateau?
It's so bizarre.
Yes, Daddy.
It's like getting like Michael Scott getting takeout from Hooters. It's like, what are
we doing here?
What are we doing? And then Michele drops off Isabella's key because she forgot it. And like on the scene, I was like, I kind of think they're good co-parents. Is that crazy?
Yeah, they're so cute.
I kind of think that like they save like it all for the screen, but most of the time, like when they're together with Isabel,
when Michele when she lets Jesse say hi to their daughter, it's like these two belong together.
No, I don't know. Maybe it's like a denial just because it's so tough for me to see some kids on reality, like Cruz.
Their kid is also like so well spoken, so sweet,
so sweet, and like I think really able to manipulate them in a way where it's kind of like Carmen Baldwin, where I'm like, she's in control, so she's in control
here. Yeah, she's charcoaling both of their mouths.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Chef Gino is cooking at Brittany's for the girls. They're having a girls' dinner. The Zach erasure once more. I don't like the just girls' dinners. It feels like icing them out. It's a really awkward dinner. The Valley's doing a lot of things where it's like showing the opening of scenes where people are sitting in silence awkwardly.
Yeah. Why aren't they? I still don't know why they're not going to restaurants and stuff. I don't know why we have to keep hiring these chefs.
I don't know. I mean,
I noticed they're doing that on the Mormon Wives too. They don't get to go to any restaurants. They don't go anywhere on that show. It's weird.
I think it's cheaper. It's cheaper and easier. You don't have to secure locations. Like, especially with the Mormon Wives, there's like 30 of them.
That's true. Like, but we get so many iconic things, like The Quiet Woman. We still talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Bravo, like they're down.
Bravo, fucking Bravo.
Once this Leah lawsuit ends, which like it's gone on for so long, only the first ruling has come out, like then I think we're then we can go back to the clubs, the bars, the restaurants.
Yeah, this feels like quarantine.
This is very quarantine. Yeah. So then the girls all apologize to Nia, which is good.
She has like she's had a very traumatic upbringing and stuff, and she tells everyone about she grew up homeless and like with her mom, they like slept on people's couches. They would dig through trash cans
in people's backyards.
Yeah,
so probably that was traumatic
when Danny to try to sell like cans and stuff for money. Like,
okay, wait, let me do my joke though. They pitched tents in people's backyards, which that was probably triggering when Danny pitched a tent in Jasmine's girlfriend's backyard for her. Okay, but it's very like it actually reminds me a lot of like Chrishell, where she came from like a similar upbringing too, and it just you got to realize the meta aspect of the show where it's like, oh, being that vulnerable, that really endears us to you know, the audience, and like as a human person.
Yeah, that's
that you didn't know that about your friend. It's like you got to kind of let down.
And you're still attacking her
for a minute, and just
like
let
she's been through a lot of stuff. And then outside of that, she also does have 3 kids under the age of 3 in a small condo, and that's a lot to deal with.
And she's also been honest about
her postpartum depression,
and just that like. She and Danny did treat that incident really seriously. She was like, I'm going to let him handle it.
They've gone to therapy.
Because it's his fuck up.
But
yeah, we're in therapy. We're in couples therapy. We're in counseling.
And then she's like, and we're both in therapy separately and we're in therapy together, which is like the healthiest response that none of them can do on their own. None of them are like, oh, we're in therapy separately and together. That's the healthiest thing you can do.
Yeah, and none of it's on TV. And it's like,
healthy.
And I think that's what's pissing them off. They're like, well, why don't they have a fake TV therapist so that we can like see it all?
Yeah,
I think that's
Dr. Almadon or whatever, Bethany's therapist.
Yes, like a weird sadist, like sociopath, like who wants to be on TV more than treat us. And that like, I just can't, as much as I like want, reality TV, I want to see the goods, I want to see it all. I can't get mad at someone for prioritizing their marriage and their family over their reality TV.
And like their kids.
And their kids. Well, yeah, their family.
They have a lot of kids, and I think that they really love each other. I think, and they also like each other, but they clearly have a lot that's going on. And I think that they're doing the best things that they can in those situations.
Yeah. And I think that what these girls don't realize is that actually you're making, like, I think that also there's some animosity that there were kind of favorites last season because they're non-problematic and they play both sides. But it's like by attacking them, you are further endearing the audience to them because we love an underdog, you know? So it's like, if anything, if you just left them alone, they might have been fired for not giving enough this season.
Yeah.
But because you attacked them, now they're fan faves. And now they will definitely come back next season. And Jasmine, I'm not so sure about you. I'm sorry.
I have like 3 minutes.
Okay. So then after Nia like pours her heart out, of course, Mariposa, Kristen is like, I had no idea. And now if anyone comes for Nia, I'm going to kick their fucking ass.
Yeah. And she will.
But then, and that's exactly what happens. All the girls kind of are like, wow. That's a lot.
And then Jasmine's like, oh no, not Jasmine.
Janet. Damn it, Janet.
Here she comes. Can you imagine someone telling you that when they were a kid, they were homeless and they slept on couches? You know, it's a lot of trauma and it's a lot of shame. And I think that was really big that she admitted that on national television.
Yes.
And then
that's
Janet
like a lot for your family.
And then Janet's like, yeah, that's a lot. But
that's a lot. And if
I had a friend who was a drug addict, alcoholic. Does he remind you of Danny?
Yeah. She was like, if she totally had it locked and loaded. And she was like, yeah.
She didn't hear her at all.
She didn't listen. She was like, but I want to go back to the tequila swig thing that happened that I was a part of. And if you ever need to talk to someone who's dealt with a partner with drug and alcohol problems, I've got experience with that. I was like, and he was like, what the fuck? And yeah, we got I think it was released the next day and then eventually cut from the episode where Janet, it goes to her talking head where she says, actually, I used to be an Al-Anon. And Nia, you know, she, I think, has gone to Al-Anon too. So it's just crazy to me she wouldn't talk about it on camera.
They cut it. So it was on I was on the East Coast feed of that episode of The Valley, and then Central and West Coast, it got cut because it's such a fucked up thing. Well, it's also, you're not supposed to talk about it because it's anonymous. That's why when you see people on TV or in interviews talking about AA, they call it a 12-step program.
Yes. Because you have to protect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and the other people that are in there. Because also, like, no matter how you feel about 12-step programs and stuff, whatever, they've helped a lot of people. And people with addiction, if they don't want to be known, they should have that right.
Yeah.
Even if they're Janet's friends.
Yes. It's like, it's fine for you to out yourself as a member of Al-Anon. Like,
I know.
that's fine. You don't have to be anonymous.
Crazy.
But
Al-Anon's especially, like, it's people whose lives have been affected by an addict. So it's very... That's, like, so gross, actually. The Al-Anon thing was... it's grosser than saying, like, Alcoholics Anonymous to me. Like...
Oh, yeah. Especially because
it's like it's somebody who's dealing with, you know... loving an addict, which is difficult. And
we don't even know who the addict is that, you know, that we now know Nia went to Al-Anon for.
By the way,
so
she shouldn't feel like it. Again, it's not Janet's story to tell. Nia's given us a lot, and who gives a fuck if she went to Al-Anon, and who knows why and for who, and good for her. She, again, the only person who seems to be getting real fucking help in any situation.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, Nia's like, this is like all being weaponized against me. I think I'm just going to leave. And then once she leaves, Jasmine is like, Kristen was like, wow, that was like really moving, right? Like that was fucking intense.
I'll kill everybody.
And Nia's like, and she's like, do you like feel like you got what you need, Jasmine? And Jasmine's like, well, I liked it until Nia kind of was like making it all about her. I'm like, guys, you've like, this is like, Janet is too reality TV brain. Like, these girls have lost the plot a little bit where they're just thinking about like scenes.
We needed Stassi to come in here and do something. We need
her to charm school these.
Yes.
Yeah.
My God.
Because the thing about Stassi, she likes power and control, but she's not afraid to like get in the mess. And
oh my God, the stuff with her husband and his cousin.
Yikes. Bad stuff. So then,
I mean, his sister, not his cousin.
His sister, the tattoo.
Even worse.
Although it's like, is that even his sister? He kind of reminds me of
They
Rooster
met when
from
they were
Annie.
35.
That's actually very common to fall in love with a relative that you haven't met your whole life. Like you confuse
she's
the
Italian
thing for romance. I don't know. He's a grifter. We might have to do an investigation.
Honestly, oh no, but people are okay. Jason, cut this. But people are talking about it a lot on subreddit, like on Reddit, because they're just like, wait, he faked his birthday, but why? And he filed bankruptcy under a different.
I'm glad that people are catching on.
And I read that Stassi made him talk about when his actual birthday was, because she knew it would probably come out and she wanted to get ahead of it and just be like, oh, it was a funny joke that they celebrated him turning 40 when he was turning like 38. And he never told anybody.
Yeah.
And then he changed also the date of his birthday too, because he wanted it to be on St. Patrick's Day. So he just told everybody it was like the 17th of March and a different year. That's what people do who are stealing identities do.
Yeah. Oof. I wanna go back to
I wanna be bad.
I wanna be and it feels so good. Yeah, I want to be bad and look up his court records. It's only $1.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Nia and Danny meet back up, and she's like, "Well, here's what's happening. They're trying to do a whole storyline of how you're an alcoholic." And Danny's like, "This is like crazy." And then Nia goes, "You did a nervous laugh just then, but I don't like that."
I like.
And I'm like, "See, I love."
She calls him out on stuff.
It's like, I'm not too worried about this man because she has his balls in a vice, and that's what he need. That's what men need.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be broken and owned by their wives, and that is what's going on with them. And that's why Danny's going to be okay, and that's why Jax wasn't. He refused.
And that's why your marriage is going to be okay, Lauren.
And then we end the episode with Danny saying, "This evening feels like the roast of Danny Bucco." Like, okay, Danny, I hope the camera's cut. And Nia said, "Danny, no more comedy.
I know.
Nobody likes that.
I
This
know.
is what got us into this problem in the
This
first
is a
place.
Dean
No more Dan
Martin roast.
Schneider jokes." Okay.
Right. Don Rickles comes in, the ghost of Don Rickles, talks about Puerto Ricans for some reason.
Oh, God.
I've seen him live.
Amazing. Anyway, so that's episodes 5 and 6 of The Valley. We'll see if anyone likes or watches this.
I need to
we'll
watch
get caught
episode
up
8.
before Miami starts. If you have a little request interstitial, I know some people wanted Mormon wives.
I'm caught up on that show.
I'm caught up too. Anyway,
I
there's
think,
a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, that's what Jason said.
Okay.
He's like,
because we've gotten some requests for that. All right, we love you guys. Bye, students.
bye. Love you.
Love you.
Love ya.
Bravo breakdown.
And after like 4 weeks, you're like, I feel it coming back a little. I have to get my 5 units.
I need here's the new update. I'm not going to that same bitch anymore because I want 20 units. So
Michele.
I'm a member now of a club called Club Inject.
Michele.
Not sponsored, but but we would love a sponsorship. Club Inject.
Michele,
Park Central.
That's really not a club you need to be a part of.
Well, I'm in the club.
I feel like, how have you not learned your lesson from the past week of like, something you didn't really need, but you were like, let's experiment and see what happens. And then you were like, well, oh, this thing I didn't need, my body's reacting.
GLP-1s are life-saving medication for
diabetics.
People with
diabetics.
And
or even obese.
If I kept going on the trajectory I was going on,
Michele. But here's the thing, Michele, like, you have no lines. Like, that's just, you still have movement.
I don't want it. Freeze me.
So your goal, you're like, I want to be Nicole Kidman circa 2017. That's what
I want to be Nicole Kidman watching, I want to be Nicole Kidman in the AMC commercial. I want to be in another
You come
world
to this
completely.
place for magic.
I come to this place for magic and to be
Yeah.
frozen. Yeah, that's the magic. And that is
You'll be watching Frozen.
Yeah.
And be frozen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the first time.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, let it go. Up.
I just want you to...
I want to look like this.
Here's my thing. I just don't want you to be body dysmorphic. Like, honey, if you want the Spock brow, I support you. You can rock it. Like, you're gorgeous no matter what. I love that beautifully cold, frozen, Nicole look. It's cunt. But... I want you to be aware that that's what you're doing, not that like right now you're a wrinkly hag, because right now the forehead wrinkle is
no, it's not. Lauren, look at that. Usually when I have my Botox, I only have this one line. Now I have like that looks like the rings on like when you cut a tree.
That's movement. The lines. It's if the lines stay after, sweetheart, dearie. Look. These are permanent. These come back after my Botox fades because I lift more. And I kind of stay there after Botox because I don't get it that often. If you can move, that just means your injector left you a little movement for expression to look more natural. But if you don't want the natural look, up it to 20 units. But just know you don't have lines there. You don't have brow lines. Guys, Dr. Melfi, can you get in the comments, please? Wait.